Hello and welcome. Have you ever wondered what is going on behind those beckoning smiles in Thailand's infamous red light districts? Think you understand the Thai bar scene? I thought I did until I spent several months researching the business most tourists never truly see when thinking about opening a bar many years ago in Pattaya. Of course, I've updated my observations since then. However, at the time, many of the bar girls called themselves business girls, and after what I learnt back then, I was inclined to agree. Nevertheless, not much has changed in the bar scene except for better lighting. The girls are, well, a bit bigger, and the internet and social media, of course, but that is another story. However, please prepare to have your preconceptions challenged about an industry that is far more complex than the neon lights suggest. Therefore, in this video I shall pull back the curtain on Thailand's most controversial economic engine, one that powers almost 10% of the entire country's GDP. Let us get one thing straight before we start. I am not here to glorify or condemn. I am simply going to tell you what I have observed about a world that most foreigners glimpse but few understand. The Thailand bar scene, the infamous nightlife, the girls with numbers pinned to their skimpy outfits, the ping pong shows, the soapy massages, the lot of it. It is a world that draws in wide-eyed tourists like moths to those buzzing neon flames. However, beneath the flashing lights and thumping music of Pat Pong, soy cowboy, Pattaya's Walking Street and Phuket's Patong, there is a business model at work that would make an MBA graduate's head spin. These women, let us drop the euphemisms and call them what many are. Sex workers operate in a legal grey area that would make London fog seem clear by comparison. The 1996 Prevention and Suppression of Prostitution Act technically criminalises their activities, but enforcement is about as consistent as a British summer weather. Public solicitism may result in a 1,000 baht fine, that is about 25 quid, while the real penalties are reserved for pimps and the brothel owners who could face up to 20 years in jail if prosecuted. Nevertheless, with corruption, so I'm told, greasing the wheels at nearly every turn, these laws are about as effective as an umbrella in a hurricane. So, what about these women? Are they victims? Entrepreneurs? Something in between? Well, that is where it gets complicated. Take Som, not a real name obviously, born in Isaan, the poorest region of Thailand. She left school at 14 to help support a family after her father's farm had failed. By 19, she was working in a bar in Pattaya, sending home enough money to support her parents, 2 siblings and her own child. "I am a business girl," she told me, without a hint of irony. "I have targets, I have expenses, I have profit. I invest in good makeup, nice clothes and English lessons. This is my business." Furthermore, she was not wrong. These women negotiate rates, cultivate regulars and manage their brands with a shrewdness that would impress any corporate executive. The drinks, they will persuade you to buy them, commission. The bar fine you pay to take them out of the bar, that is a facility fee. The carefully calculated rates for short time or long time services, that is product pricing. It is commerce, pure and simple, dressed up in fishnet stockings and high heels. However, let us not deceive ourselves. This is not all sunshine and entrepreneurial spirit. For every woman like Som who navigates the system, Many others remain trapped by debt, addiction, or a lack of alternatives. The pandemic laid this bare when tourism dried up overnight, leaving thousands without income and no safety net. No tourists, no income, no food. It is as simple and that brutal. The economic reality is stark. A factory worker in Thailand might earn 300-400 baht a day, about 8 to 10 British pounds. A bar girl can earn that in an hour, just from lady drinks without considering anything else. On a good night she might earn several thousand baht. In a country where the average monthly wage hovers around 15,000 baht, the appeal is evident. It is an industry born of necessity as much as opportunity. The wealth gap between rural and urban Thailand results in a constant influx of young women pursuing better fortunes. Moreover, the demand, well, that originates from elsewhere, specifically from the middle-aged Western men who flock to Thailand's shores in search of a fantasy they cannot find at home. The transactions that take place are not just financial. There is an exchange of fantasy too. Men posture as irresistible, while women play the role of the pursued. Both sides know the score, but the illusion is maintained with a wink and a smile. It is all very civilized in a way. The bar system itself is ingeniously designed. First, there is the entrance, usually free, to draw you in. Then there are the drinks, overpriced but not exorbitantly so. Then there are the lady drinks. Nowadays, I am told, are about 150 to 200 baht a pop. A commission system that incentivizes the women to keep you company. Finally, if the chemistry is right, there is the bar fine, which I am told is about 500 to 1,000 baht, which is paid to the establishment for the privilege of taking your new friend elsewhere. However, it was a lot less back in my day. Every step of the way, money changes hands. Every interaction has a price tag. It is capitalism in its purest form. Desire monetized down to the minute. Moreover, they say romance is dead. However, here is what most tourists miss. These women form communities. They share information about good customers and bad ones. They warn each other about dangerous men or police raids. They pool resources for emergencies. They look after each other's children. They create support networks that would put many corporate team building exercises to shame. Some even manage to transition out of the industry. With money saved, they open small shops, restaurants or massage parlours. Others marry foreign clients and move abroad. The lucky ones at least. Many remain trapped in the cycle, getting older in an industry that values youth, watching their earning potentials diminish year by year. The proposed sex workers protection bill might change things if it ever passes. Decriminalisation could bring labour rights, healthcare benefits and freedom from police harassment. Nevertheless, conservative forces in Thai society oppose it, citing moral concerns, while conveniently ignoring the economic realities that drive the industry. Nothing like moral outrage to mask economic hypocrisy, is there? Because make no mistake, this industry is huge. That estimated 6.4 billion annual contribution to the economy, that is about 10% of Thailand's GDP. When the government occasionally vows to clean up Thailand's image, they are talking about eliminating a revenue stream roughly equivalent to the entire British fishing industry. I'm sure they would get right on that. The COVID pandemic offered a glimpse of what that might look like, and it was not pretty. When tourism stopped, the bars closed. When the bars closed, the women lost their income. Moreover, when they lost their income, many faced starvation or homelessness. There were no furlough schemes for sex workers, no government support. They were all left to fend for themselves, a stark reminder of their precarious position in Thai society. Nevertheless, they adapted. Some turned to online work. Others found temporary jobs in factories or service work. They did what entrepreneurs do best. They adapted and pivoted. Moreover, when tourism returned, so did they. Perhaps that is the most business-like thing about them, their resilience. In a world that stigmatizes them, in a legal system that criminalizes them, in an economy that exploits them, they find ways to survive and sometimes to thrive. Therefore, are Thai bar girls businesswomen? Some certainly are. Others are simply trying to survive in a system not of their making. The truth, as usual, lies somewhere in the messy middle. What is undeniable is that they are economic actors in a vast industry that Thailand simultaneously depends on and denies. They are both products of a system and agents within it. They navigate a complex web of legal, social and economic factors with whatever tools they have at their disposal. In the end, perhaps it is less about what we call them and more about understanding the reality they inhabit. A reality shaped by tourism, poverty, gender inequality and global economic forces. So, next time you find yourself in Pat Pong or Soy Cowboy being beckoned by a woman with a number pinned to her dress, remember, you are not just being invited to a transaction. You are being invited into a complex economic ecosystem, one that says as much about our world as it does about hers. Well, that was cheerful, was it not? Therefore, the next time you are in Thailand, perhaps stick to the temples and pad Thai if you want to keep your moral compass pointing north. However, if you do venture into those neon-lit streets, remember, there is more to that smiling woman than meets the eye. She might be a victim, she might be a hustler, but she is definitely a survivor in a world that deals some people a much harder hand than others may have. As for me, I will be in my garden, back in Isaan, nursing a cup of coffee and contemplating the strange economics of desire in today's globalized world. If you found this peek behind the curtains enlightening, hit that like button faster than a drunk sunburnt tourist can down a bucket of Samsung at a full moon party. Subscribe for more unvarnished looks at the realities behind the travel brochures. Finally, leave a comment sharing your thoughts on whether you have seen this side of Thailand, or has this video changed your perspective. I respond to every thoughtful comment, even the ones that tell me I'm a grumpy old sod who should lighten up. Thanks for listening. Bye bye.